Good afternoon. Good afternoon. There. It's time to wake up. I am going to talk today about the human element in cybersecurity with regard to ethics. My name is Paul Maurer. I'm president of Montreat College in North Carolina, outside of Asheville. And I'm going to talk about a book that I and my co-author just recently published called The Code of Honor. Ed Scotus on the right is my co-author, and the reason I asked him to co-author the book is because I'm not technical and I know very little about any of the technical elements of cybersecurity, and Ed does. Ed is one of the leading experts in the United States on cybersecurity. He has been involved for the last 2 decades in doing forensic analysis on most of the largest breaches in the United States over the last 2 decades. Ed has become a friend and a colleague, and he was a joy to work with on this book. Montreat College, we're in our 12th year of teaching cybersecurity, and we developed a value proposition some years ago that we didn't really know whether people would agree with it or not, but it is what we believed to be true about cybersecurity, and that is the human factor, that the problem of cybersecurity is principally a human problem, not a technical problem. And that therefore, the solution to the problem of cybersecurity is principally a human solution and not a technical solution. If you don't have people of character and ethics as your cybersecurity leaders and frontline operators, your technology does not matter very much. This value proposition, as it turned out, resonated with the National Security Agency here in the United States. I'll be talking about the NSA quite a bit here, and because it caught their attention, I received a phone call from this person, Lynn Clark. She is the chief of the Center for Education, Innovation, and Outreach for the National Security Agency. She oversees basically the now nearly 500 schools that are designated by the National Security Agency as centers of academic excellence. Back when Montreat College gained this designation in 2017, there were maybe 150 of us, and now there are nearly 500 schools, and Lynn is the person who has been responsible for that. I got a call from Lynn, and she requested a curriculum from us for the growing number of schools that are designated by the NSA as centers of academic excellence. And after some conversation with her, we agreed to deliver the curriculum, but also the book. And the purpose is to create a framework, for ethical decision-making in cybersecurity for both students and professionals in their high-stakes, high-pressure decision-making. When you're in live fire in cybersecurity, you are tasked with doing things that matter a great deal, and you're tasked with doing them very, very quickly. And so Lynn understood that at the core of that decision-making were a very large number of ethical decisions and ethical dilemmas. She asked me to put together a blue ribbon committee across the country, which we did, and they worked closely with us to develop the book, The Code of Honor. So why the code? Well, simply put, the greatest modernizations in most of essential fields have recognized the need for a universally adopted code of ethics. Medicine has the Hippocratic Oath, law has legal ethics, warfare has the Geneva Conventions of 1949, and we believe that cybersecurity is the economic and security threat of our time. It has risen very, very quickly. Next year, it is estimated that cybercrime at a global level will exceed $10 trillion, which would make it the 3rd largest economy in the world after the United States and China. Anyone in the world who has a computer or a smartphone or is otherwise digitally connected is at threat of cybercrime. The scope and magnitude of cybersecurity is on par in our belief with the scope and magnitude of medicine, law, and warfare. So here's the code. I solemnly swear to uphold to the best of my ability and judgment in all my professional duties, personal practices, future endeavors, the tenets of this pledge. 1, I will treat all people with dignity and respect. 2, I will seek the best interests of others. 3, I will strive to recognize, take ownership, and appropriately communicate my mistakes and exercise patience toward others who make errors. 4, I will be honest, trustworthy, and above reproach in all my actions and communications. 5, I will not be a lone wolf, but will instead work collaboratively with my peers and superiors. 6, I will endeavor to exercise patience, wisdom, and self-control in all situations. 7, I will not steal and will do everything in my power to prevent theft in all its forms. And last but not least, I will protect and respect the privacy of others. In the book, which the 8 main chapters of the book follow the 8 planks of the code, at the end of each chapter, we have an application section. So I want to give you a little taste of the wide variety of ethical challenges that cybersecurity professionals face. The first area of concern is ransomware. Everyone know what ransomware is, where the cybercriminal seizes your network, they shut it down, they send you a notice and say, if you will pay X number of dollars, we'll give you your network back. This is possibly the largest area of cybercrime currently around the world, and law enforcement agencies have very little recourse, are able to do very little about it. And so it's left to the companies, to the organizations, to the governments to make decisions, and for the cyber professionals within those arenas to make decisions quickly on behalf of the institution. We face an explosion of devastating ransomware attacks on a regular basis. The attackers are becoming more brazen all the time. There are numerous different industries attacked, including healthcare, schools, government, and manufacturing. So how do we apply the code? Here's a scenario from Chapter 1. A mid-sized medical device company, a mid-sized medical device engineering company, ransomware shuts down its production capacity. Their systems were exploited through a third-party IT service provider. But there are many different medical device companies, including the competition, that use the same IT provider. So what are the ethically related questions raised by this scenario? 1, is it reasonable to try to hack back and neutralize the attacker? 2, does the organization have a responsibility to alert the IT provider? 3, should the organization warn its competitors of the attack? 4, should the organization notify law enforcement? What if the attacker demands that they not involve law enforcement? And 5, and certainly not last, or the only 5, should the organization pay the ransom? These are the most common questions that organizations face when they have a ransomware attack. So how do we apply the code to this scenario? Many scenarios in the book and in real life, and by the way, all of the scenarios in this book come from Ed Scotus's experience over the last 20 years. He has taken the largest breaches that he's done forensic analysis on, anonymized them, and put them in the book. For this scenario, consider the implications of these principles. Sorry?
Cyber attack.
That's funny.
Chinese don't like what you're doing.
Do I have a battery problem? Principle 1, I will treat all people with dignity and respect. 2, I will seek the best interest of others. 3, I will strive to recognize, take ownership, and appropriately communicate my mistakes and exercise patience towards others who make errors. I will not be a lone wolf. So often the cyber professionals think they can solve the problem. Part of why we included this in the code was to encourage people not to think that in their own pride and brilliance that they can solve a problem on their own. I will not be a lone wolf, but will instead to work collaboratively with my peers. And lastly, I will endeavor to exercise patience, wisdom, and self-control. There's a scenario in Chapter 6. The area of concern in Chapter 6 is organizations rely on IT auditors to ensure their systems are running smoothly and securely. Chapter 6 addresses a common scenario associated with IT audits. You have a national retailer that has an annual audit associated with cybersecurity. They pass the audit with a satisfactory rating. Some members of the IT security team identify significant security issues that the auditors did not cite. And lastly, the security team debates how to approach the issue. So what are the questions raised by this scenario? Was this an oversight by the auditors? Were the issues out of scope? And are the issues not important enough or even real enough for the auditors to identify? What if a manager decides to proceed with the audit results as is, putting the issues on the back burner to handle in the future? And when your budgets are tight, trust me, that is a real temptation, is to put them on the back burner. Should members of the IT team escalate beyond their manager? And what are the implications of doing that in their own careers and to the organization? For this scenario, consider the implications of these principles. I will treat all people with dignity and respect. I will be honest and trustworthy and above reproach in my actions and communications. I will not be a lone wolf, but will instead work collaboratively with my peers and superiors. And finally, I will endeavor to exercise patience, wisdom, and self-control. In conclusion, the National Security Agency has made the teaching of ethics a requirement for redesignation for the nearly 500 schools in the United States. The NSA is not technically an accrediting body, but they are the de facto accrediting body of this growing number of schools that are producing the workforce here in the United States for the cybersecurity profession. Now, the cybersecurity profession is new. It's only a few years old. It's estimated today that there are about 1.2 million cybersecurity professionals in the United States. It's also estimated that there are roughly 550,000 unfilled jobs in cybersecurity today, just in the United States, 500,000. So we have about 1.2 in the workforce, and just under half that many more are needed today. That number is expected to grow to 1 million domestically and 3.5 million unfilled jobs in cyber globally within the next 2 years. And so what the NSA has decided to do is to say it is in the national interest, national security interest, to be involved in the development of the workforce here, and it is also incumbent upon the development of that workforce to teach them ethics. And so what the NSA has done is they've asked us to create this curriculum, create this book, and the code of honor is the curriculum, and the curriculum are what the NSA is providing to these schools. The schools don't have to use this work, but it's the tool that the NSA is providing to them. We know it's not perfect. We could spend another couple hours talking about all the implications of this, how the conflicts arise between various principles, how the principles could apply to a lot of other fields, and all that is true. And we know that there's conflict and none of this is perfect, but we hope it's a useful tool for current students and cybersecurity professionals. Last thing I would say to you is if your government is involved or you think it should be involved in the development of your cyber workforce of tomorrow, this is a tool not just for our people and not for the NSA and for the schools here in the United States, but for the globe. There is no broadly accepted set of ethical guidelines in the field of cybersecurity. The field of cybersecurity is new. We're in the very, very earliest stages of dealing with the cybersecurity threat and problem. And so, like law, like medicine, like warfare, we think it's deserving of a broadly accepted code. If you would like to see the Amazon page and order a copy, I brought a box of books. Some of you took them. We put them on the table. They're all gone. I brought some free copies. If the Amazon page is to your left and the code is to your right, and if you want to take a snapshot of those, perhaps introduce them into your parliaments and into your spheres of influence. If your country wants to potentially utilize this tool, we offer it for your use. Thank you very much.
Thank you.